Two more hands to review today. Both of these hands I open raised pre-flop from middle position and faced a late position 3-bet that I then called. And I think both hands played out basically the same way. So let's start with hand number one. We're at a 10NL table. I get pocket eights in middle position. I open raise to 3 big bets and then villain on the button 3 bets. I have over 700 hands with him. He is mostly tight aggressive. I mean, these numbers look really good. 3-bet pre-flop 6%. His call pre-flop 2 bets 12%. This guy's a reg, and when you look at his 3-bet range, it's jacks plus. He has ace 3 suited. He does have ace jack offsuit plus, and I'm not sure when he's done that. So if we do positional stats, his 3-bet by position doesn't seem like he's increasing his 3-betting more as position improves, and it doesn't necessarily. Maybe he's 3-betting a little bit more from the blinds, but I'd say yeah, he probably is 3-betting more. 4 out of 55, 5 out of 59, versus 1 out of 42, 2 out of 34. Maybe he's 3-betting against the sea a little bit more, but he's got a pretty decent 3-betting range that doesn't appear to be adjusted for position. So we know of the hands that he's 3-bet with, it's jacks plus. He has ace 3 suited, so it's possible that he probably does 3-bets with all of those. He had ace jack offsuit, and if he's going to do ace jack offsuit plus, then he's probably also doing ace jack suited plus. That's 6%. Ace jack offsuit might have been a fluke, but we can leave that in. Does he 3-bet with 10s and 9s? I don't know. If we add them, it starts getting into the 7.5% range. Maybe he doesn't do it with all of these. Maybe he only raises with ace deuce and ace 3. Does he do it with king queen? Maybe. I don't have a hand where he's done that with, and it doesn't quite look like that, because I'd assume that 3-bet versus steals would have a king queen hand in there, and it doesn't. It looks like he's pocket pairs and then high aces, and maybe these ace littles. So we'll leave that as their range, and I have pocket eights, and I'm okay. They have a lot of these unpaired hands in his range, so 24 combos of pocket pairs, and then you have 16 combos of the ace jacks plus, and then 4 combos each of these. So you can see 47%. I'm not terrible underdog. I called. Should I have called? I think we can debate that. I think with the calling, I'm set mining, but I also somewhat have a plan, because he c-bets the flop 72% of the time, and then he tapers off. It goes to 61 and then 33. So I think he's going to c-bet with most of his range on the flop, and then if he doesn't have something, at least some piece of it on the turn, then he's probably just going to give up and probably check behind. 61 is still kind of high. I think if this number was 50 or less, I think that's more of an indication that he becomes turn honest. But he does have that going for it. And when you look at his range, it's going to hit 50. It's going to hit top pair plus, flush draws, open-ended straight draws. 45.2% of the time, top pair plus. So he's going to be hitting quite a bit. Am I getting the odds to set mine? Yeah, it's 7 more to call. 7 big blinds to call, and we have 116. I think just barely. If you factor in that perhaps on a favorable flop, all low cards, I may be able to take down the hand when they completely miss. So I call. Flop hits me. Flop hits me kind of hard with that trip eights. And the only real hand that we have to worry about are pocket queens. And now seeing a queen out there reduces the chances that he actually has pocket queens from 6 combos down to 3. And right now I should be the favorite because he only hits pocket queens. So yeah, you can see equity of my hand's 92%. Now the question is, what do we do? What is our game plan? Should we lead out here? Should we check call? Should we plan to check raise? I'm not a fan of leading out. I think if I lead out, it gives him a reason to fold. So he has c-bets flat 72% of the time. If I lead, it's going to give him a reason to fold, let's say the ace-jack, all of these ace-littles. May even find a fold with pocket jacks, possibly. But if I check to him, more than likely he's going to bet, and that's going to be a good thing. Now, should I raise? If he does that, well, let's see what he actually does. So I check to him. He bets, all right, and he bets about half pot. So what is he going to bet with? I think he is going to bet with most of his range, including that weak pair. I think he's going to be betting a lot of these ace high, probably all of that ace high hands. If we take it out and say only restricted to the aces that have the 2-card backdoor flush, that brings it in line, 63.8%. I'll also include overcards, so the ace king, because I think a lot of people, they love ace king, they miss, and they still bet out with it. Heck, sometimes I do too. So I think with 80% of his range, he's going to fire. Now, if I raise, what is he going to call with? So this is 80% here. If I raise, then he'll probably call with a set. Let's get this. He'll call with a set. He'll call with a 2-pair. I'm going to say at least call. He may actually shove on me with a set, 2-pair, overpair, which allows me to get rid of my hand. Probably top pair. But I think he's going to give up all of these pocket pairs. So maybe 42% of the hands he'll call a raise with, and then he'll fold everything else. Do I want him to do that? Not really. I don't want him to only call with those hands that have me crushed. Not have me crushed. I beat the only set I'm behind. I want him to continue with a lot of these other hands because I think I can make more money if he happens to hit something else. Sometimes I do like to raise, but on this dry flop here, if I check raise, I don't think there's. I think the only thing he could put me on is trips. Now, let's change this. Let's say this is 8 of spades, 4 of spades, queen of hearts. Now, if I check raise, now check raising makes a little bit more sense because I would also check raise with the spade draw as well. So if I had ace of spades, jack of spades, or ace of spades, king of spades, I'd make that check raise as well. Might even do it if I had something like 6-7. I wouldn't have called 6-7 pre-flop, but just kind of giving you an example where I'm going to make that check raise when I have some solid draws, and those are going to be balanced by premium hands, so 2-pair plus. Here, I really can't have any draws. So if I check raise, I'm basically just telegraphing that I have trips. So I just called, and the turn brings a 10 of diamonds. Now, does the 10 of diamonds help him at all? I think the 10 of diamonds gets rid of all of his flush draws, but now gives him gut shots. So he could have his ace king now has a gut shot. His ace jack now has a gut shot. I don't quite. I don't have king jack in his range um, at all. So it gives him a gut shots. And now we're back to the question: should I bet or should I just check and plan to call, or check and plan to check raise? Again, I think if I bet, I'm going to give him reason to fold, and he may find fold with ace jack. Um, he may find a fold with ace jack. He may find a fold with all of his gut shots. Uh, I don't think he'll find a fold with any of his over pairs or his top pairs. So I think if this was the range that he would had call with, if I donk out, that's 42%. What do I think he's going to bet with? So he bets his continue c betting 61% on the turn. I think he's going to be betting all of those 42, and he may still fire out top pair. But again, I open raised and then called his 3-bet, and now I check called his flop continuation bet with the queen on the board. I think he's going to give up on the pocket pair below top pair. I think he's going to give up on the weak pair. I think he's going to give up on the ace high hands. But I do think the gut shot will probably still bet. So I still think he's going to be betting his gut shots. So that would be the jack. The jacks, the ace king. Ace jacks should also be there, right? 10 jack queen. I guess we took out the ace jack. Let's see here. Yeah, ace jack should still be there, so the gut shots. Ace jack should still, at least that one should still be there. So I'll leave the ace jack, ace kings, jacks. Oh, I got it. It's counting it as an open-ended straight draw. So we'll say he's continuing with all of those. That's 81%. I'm still doing really well with him. I'm thinking I'm just going to check and let him continue betting, which he did. I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with him, but he could easily put me on a queen. I haven't suggested that I have any sort of strength yet, so I called, and then turn was a 9 of diamonds, and I think that was probably one of the last cards that I wanted to see, because I thought that he could be doing this with possibly ace jack. Now that's going to be a very small percentage, 18%, and if I bet, then I think he's going to be calling with probably all of this. So if he bets, I think and of all of his calls, I'm going to be 66% favorite. Do I think he's going to bet anything more? If I check, do I think he's going to bet? I don't know. I think he's still going to bet all those same hands. So I think at this point, I think the worst thing that could happen is for it to get checked through. Although in a lot of ways, I'm kind of turning my hand into a bluff catcher by just checking and calling. I think I probably should have led here at this point, and leading probably could have just been leading all in. So leading for the pot, and hope that he calls. In game, I probably thought that he may have had a jack, may have had a king jack, but looking, reviewing this now, I don't think that's, the case. I think we are right at possibly ace jack at 18%. I think most of what he's going to have will be that queen. So ace queen or pocket aces, pocket kings. I think that's kind of where I'm leaning towards now. So I just checked. He bet half pot. I just called, and again, if he bet half pot, I probably should have just raised, because I think he's going to probably call his overpair. Most of these players do. They'll call kings and aces in this situation. I guess he could still have jacks, uh, but I just called, and he shows ace three of diamonds, and that was actually kind of surprising because I don't have ace three in the range right now. So where we went wrong was the turn. I took all of those aces out. So I took just that uh, ace high hands. If we look at him and he throws all those ace highs, he's probably also doing it with a weak pair, and probably with the pocket pair. So it's going to be 100% at that point. And then now that opens up something different. So now I think it changes it a little bit to where if I bet, I'm going to get him, he's going to fold all of those. Whereas if I check, I give him a possibility of bluffing at those. So and when we look at that, we're looking at 40 some percent, 43%, 44% of the time he will probably continue firing. So it didn't get in there. Just kind of threw us off. Why he would bet. Again, my play check calling. Surely he had to kind of give me credit for some sort of pair at a minimum, maybe a queen, or he could have thought that I was just passive calling station, and just was calling with anything. I don't know. So this was kind of interesting. We can make a note on this guy. Triple barrel with ace high hand. So if I see him again, then I know what to do. All right, let's pause and get hand number 2 set up. All right, hand number 2 is also middle position. This is a 10 and an L game. I get ace queen offsuit, and I open raise the three big blinds. Button 3 bets me and just min 3 bets. So not many people make the min 3 bets, and when I see it, it usually just kind of throws me off because I don't know if they're just being dumb and they don't really know how to make the bets, or if they just do the minimum, min raise, because that's easy. Just gonna hit raise and it does it. So let's see what he looks like. He's 23-20. His 3 bets 4%. 3 bet pre-flop. I've got 368 hands on him. And when we do 3 bets by position, he's definitely 3 betting. He's 3 bet twice on the button. He's 3 bet twice in mid position. 3 bet once from the blind. He has 3 bet versus. Yeah, not a huge number of hands. So what we're gonna do is kind of assume he's playing somewhat set range, probably something like that. That's 3.62. Maybe king queen, 3.92. With that min raise, I don't quite think he's going to be mixing in any hands for a bluff, so I think he's going to be pretty strong here. Even though the min raise is kind of weak, and that could be somewhat telling. So with that min raise, maybe we get rid of those hands, or maybe just get rid of aces and kings, or maybe just aces. We're going to leave it in because he could also just be min raising as his standard size. So that's 4%. I've got ace of spades, queen of hearts against that range. I'm going to be behind 36%. So he's got ace king that beats me, all the pocket pairs that beats me. Basically, I'm only ahead of ace jack. I've got that dominated. I have king queen dominated. So What should I do? Should I call? Should I fold? Uh, I think folding could be okay against this type of player. You can say that min raise just looks too fishy, uh, too much like a strong hand where he's hoping I call. Uh, I call him. Um, so I think you could fold, but ace queen is pretty strong. I called. I get three. It's three big bets or three big blinds to win 1050. So a little over 3 to 1. I'm gonna take that. That's kind of what my equity was suggesting. So I called and flop came queen high. Now I'm not super thrilled. Yeah, I hit top pair, but with that min raise, I, I am kind of scared of aces and kings. I am kind of scared of it. So uh, I could lead out and then get raised, or I can just check and see what he does. And that's what I did. I wanted to check, see what he is going to bet. So this player c bets the flop 100%, 44 out of 44. It is entirely his entire range, so 100% of hands. Everything's in there. I kind of knew that. And that's actually pretty good because that means he's going to be betting ace king, ace jack, uh, pocket jacks as well. So he bets pot, which went from a min raise to a pot size bet. This just seems like he's trying to get flush draw to fold, which could be possibly aces, kings, ace, queen. I can't just fold because I have top pair, top kicker, and just have a suspicion that he may have that aces or kings. I have to call. I have to see what's going to come on the turn. And my thought was, if a club comes and I am behind kings or aces, I could probably get him to fold those. Uh, but right now I'm playing for value. So I called um, his 100% range, and then the queen of diamonds comes. Queen of diamonds, now if he's playing these suited hands, he's got two flush draws, um, clubs and the diamonds. And question is, what do I do now? So he c bets 100%, but then he only bets 73% on the turn, bets 75% on the river. So he's gonna probably have some draws in here. So I'm going to say the flush draws are there. I'm going to get rid of the ace high hands. He doesn't have any weak pair. Pocket pair below top pair, I'm going to leave that in. So I think he's going to probably c-bet, if I check, that entire range. If he checks behind, then I think he probably has one of these ace high hands, and I'm going to be good. Then it's just going to be trying to figure out what size bet will he call on the river. So you can see against this range, it's kind of like a coin flip. So I check, he bets. He bets pot again. And my equity based on this range is still 50%. I'm getting the odds to call. So getting 2 to 1. So pot odds 2 to 1. I need 33% equity to call. I'm getting 50%. I called again. And then the river is the 6 of spades. Now this kind of gets us down to this last part. So on the river, 6 out of 8 times he's triple barreled. And what is he going to triple barrel with? I think he's going to triple barrel with all of the top pair plus. And then because of his frequencies, he's probably also triple barreling some less than top pair hands. So I think what I'm going to do is include these pocket jacks in there as well. So if he does that, includes the pocket jacks, you can see now if he triple barrels, my equity is going to be at 44.7%. And the pots, we only have 40 big blinds left. I should be getting the odds to call. And I did think about this on the turn. When he bet 40, that's basically half of our stack. My thought was, if I'm going to call now, I'm gonna have to call the river with top pair unless something incredible hits. So 6, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't change the hand at all. If I'm ahead, I'm still ahead. So I check to him to let him bet. again, I mean, why show aggression and give him a reason to fold at this point? He's demonstrating that he's aggressive. So he bet all in. I called, and again, just kind of go back. I only need 20% equity. My estimate is that I have 45%. So I just called basically for value, getting the odds. Called all in, and I win. He shows king queen. Now, is that in his range? No, I had king queen suited in his range, and that now allows us to adjust some of the opening ranges. So if he does king queen offsuit, then he's probably also doing ace queen offsuit and ace jack offsuits. So he may be raising something like that, uh, which is 5%, 5.5%. But that gives even more hands in his range that he could be continuing with. So all of these pocket pairs, you can see 63%, top pair, pocket pair below, top pair, probably all the flush draws. You know, is he going to continue with ace high? It's tough to say. He is aggressive. He is aggressive. And then once that 6 comes out, now you can see that it kind of comes down to that pocket pair below top pair. I'm at 45% equity if he doesn't bet those. If he does bet those, I'm at 56. So like no matter what, he's so aggressive that he's going to be betting this top pair. We're looking at aces. So only 3 aces because I block one. There's 6 kings out there, and then you have all of these ace queen king queen hands out there that if we add them up, 3 plus 11 is 14. So 14 out of versus 9. All of those hands that I beat. So I think this is pretty good call. I was definitely passive with this hand. And perhaps I could have raised, but again, this guy was very aggressive. And when I played this hand, my thought was I'm just going to let him bet all the way. I don't want to bet and give him a reason to fold some of those weaker cards. All right, thanks for watching. Look tomorrow for a couple more hands.